Hello.
You are online.
You're online. Okay. Okay. So let's see who's there online. Hello, everyone. I would like to thank World Education Organization yet again, who has brought me live to come back for the second time. And this is nothing but IAAC Society, who has invited me to the session again. And this time it's a different topic altogether. It's about global best practices in digital communication. How many of you are excited about this? That you're going to learn in the next 90 minutes global best practices in digital communication. How many of you are excited? Just type in the comments. If I can see someone on the comments, please just type in the comments. I can see that who is live right now. I'm not able to see anyone yet. So you could just type in the comments that if you're excited to know about global best practices in digital communication. Only when you're excited, I'll be excited to train you, right? So you need to type in the comments that you are excited. Just type in the comments excited or E. I'm just waiting for your comments. I'm not able to see any comments so far. So I'm waiting for your comments on the screen to get started. So would you want me to get started? If yes, then type it in the comments excited or E. You're going to learn global best practices in digital communication. Okay. So what you're going to learn here is different techniques which you need to adopt when you're communicating globally. And it has to be interactive. It can't be one way. I'm going to communicate to you and you're not going to respond to me. Yeah, I think I'm back. Looks like there is some connectivity issue here. Can I see some of your comments on the screen that you're excited about this particular session, which is global best practices in digital communication? I would like to see your participation. Type it in the comments E if you're excited about it. Right. This is an event brought to you by World Education Organization. So it's not an ordinary event. It's an event which is going to help you make notes and implement in your day-to-day life, in your professional life, right? Whether it's deans or faculties or students or professionals, it's going to be useful for each of you. I want to know. I see someone has commented. Yes. So I'm looking forward to definitely add value here and respond to your comments as well. So I would like you to keep engaging on the chat throughout the event, throughout the next 90 minutes, because once you complete these 90 minutes, you're going to get a certificate from whom? World Education Organization, which is nothing but IAAC Society. So you're going to get a certificate today if you're watching this complete 90-minute session, right? I would request you to keep notes, make notes, and also ask questions during the session. If you're not interacting, then you're not going to learn otherwise, right? So ask questions. I pulled out time for you. It means you can also honor this time by asking relevant questions around communication. So what are the different types of communications which we have today? We have formal communication and informal communication, both, right? You have formal and informal, but what works for you in professional life is formal communication, right? And when it comes to formal communication, post corona era, I call it as post corona era, the communications have changed big time. It's no more the regular communication of meeting each other in face to face, right? So you are going to change your communication pattern even in the next few years going down the line, right? So your communications are going to be quite different post COVID. Wherever, if you're working in a company or you're in a university or you're a student communicating with your faculty members, or if you're a dean, if you're communicating with your faculty members and the students, you have a completely different way of communicating today compared to what you were doing it before, right? You used to have physical meetings. You used to have physical workshops. It's all gone. It's all online. You're going to have most of the communications online. And when it comes to online, I would want to know which is the most commonly used communication method for your professional communication. Now, I want to know in your chat box which is the most formal way of communicating with people around you in a professional life. Just type it in the comments. If you type it in the comments, I'll be I will feel that you're really engaging and interacting with me, right? How does it make a difference when we are engaging with each other? Yes, good evening. Good evening. Please type in the comments. What is the most formal communication which is adopted today in the professional work life, which is going to stay forever? I want to know in the comments, please. Girish Singh, Dr. Fazlur Rahman, please type in the comments, stating clearly what would be the most effective formal communication means, whether it's email, whether it's WhatsApp, whether it's telephonic conversation, or whether it's going to be again the workshops which are done through physical sessions, or it will be just remote workshops. Which is the most formal and most long lasting method of communication which is going to be there done more often than not in your day-to-day life? Please answer it on the comments so that I would know what exactly you're feeling about it. I'm waiting for your comments. Dr. Fazlur Rahman and Girish Singh, please, I'm waiting for your comments on this. So no response. The session will get delayed. I would expect you to interact here, please. Okay, I'll make it easy for you. The most formal communication is what? It's email communication, right? But before getting into email communication, let us also know what are the different other important communications which are going to stay and which are going to grow. I'm not going to support any particular platform, but all these video conversations, video broadcasting, interactive sessions would be definitely going to be more powerful going forward. Okay, you are going to make all these more often than not. The video broadcasting, video communication, interactive sessions across the globe, it doesn't matter where you are, this is going to be there. But in addition to this, and the most commonly used would be the email communication. And there you need to understand what are the best practices, isn't it? Agree with me? If you agree, type in the comments, agree. Type in the comments, agree. Okay, I'm getting to hear that you're agreeing to it. Okay, let's move on. Now, in email, let's learn the basic etiquettes which are required, global best practices in sending effective messages, form and tone of the messages. How do you respond to the messages? And say organizing different parts of an email, best practices in keeping CC and BCC, greeting enclosures and signature, and follow-up best practices, and much more. Right? Okay, I agree with your point. You do go by Google Meet, which is good, or you could do go by Zoom or whichever platform. There are so many platforms today, right? Everyone is coming up with their own platform. There is also Make in India platforms which are purely born and brought up in India, and that's also coming up. So there will be more and more such platforms which are coming in, and it will get integrated into your day-to-day work life. You're right, absolutely right, Dr. Fazlur Rahman. When it comes to email, I want to know why you should have email rules, right? You can't just write an email and expect that it is going to be powerful enough for other person to understand and respond you back, right? If you really understand this, let me know why you have to have email rules first. I want a real interaction here, please. If you're just going to consume the content, you're not going to make justice for this entire session. If you have to really utilize my session, you need to interact. So just like how you have commented, I do go by Google Meet. Please do also comment why we need to have email rules. Because when I had a session with some of the deans of one of the largest universities in India recently, they were quite interactive and they got the maximum impact when they were interactive during the session, right? So I would expect you also interact more clearly here, and you get the maximum impact by understanding why you need to have certain rules in your communication. Please type in the comments. It can't be one-way session. If you just needed one-way session, then I would just give you a recording video. You can use it, right? You definitely want a two-way session, isn't it? So please type in the comments, why do you need to have rules for your communication? Why do you need to have rules for your email communication as well? I'm waiting for your comments. Okay, because simple. Email is the big part of your professional and personal life and for your communications. It can break and make your contracts at times. It can break or make, especially when we are working remotely with teams. It can pass on a different communication altogether to a stakeholder, a team member, a vendor, a customer, if you're not communicating it properly with the structured rules. Agree? I'm sure you should agree agree with this. And let's move on to the next one, which is, in fact, sometimes email is the only communication model adopted by most corporates today. Some of them would do the Zoom meeting and so on and so forth, and Google Meet or whatever it is, right? But email becomes the major and sometimes the only communication uh, platform for interacting with your stakeholders, with your customers, with your vendor, with your team members, and so on and so forth. And it's going to be there like this, right? And why do you want to waste this opportunity? Why do you want to waste this opportunity? For not setting up proper rules. And today, in this session, you are going to get global best practices of following those rules clearly. Global best practices, right? So let's look at why you have to learn email etiquette itself, right? Because it becomes one of the most important asset for your organization, for each of your stakeholders. And it will become also a kind of a supplement for all the legal documents and things like that, right? So when you're sending some important document, you're going to talk about what exactly the document is there, and if it's confidential, you have to make it very, very clear, right? So all these things are extremely important, and I really get fascinated by the fact that people are using emails unprofessionally, which is why it prompted me to come back and give this session to the society, because we want Indians in India, in Indians abroad, and everyone across the globe, okay, to benefit from this session in terms of writing emails in a very structured way and have a rule set before that. Good evening, Mr. Naresh. And when I say unprofessional things happen in email, is sometimes people use different colors, and it goes crazy with the colors when it is done unprofessionally, right? It goes really crazy with the colors when it is done unprofessionally, and you can't treat corporate email like your SMS or a WhatsApp stuff, right? It really has a lot of weightage and a value when you're writing a professional email to your professional colleagues and to professional stakeholders. It is very, very professional. No added colors, no text language or SMS language we call. We should make sure that we make it very, very clear. And during this session today, you're going to make notes of those 23 rule sets, which I'm going to give. 23 simple rule sets, which is going to save your company and save your stakeholders, literally, because there are legal implications if you're not doing it well. And if that's why I'm making it very, very clear that this session is going to be extremely critical for all the corporates, all the universities, all the students, all the professionals, all the entrepreneurs across the globe. Okay, so how do you enforce? I'm going to give you the rule set, the 23 rule sets going forward in the session itself. You don't have to wait for it for too long. In the next 90 minutes, it will get covered. But what is more important is those rule sets which I'm going to give you, you're going to train your stakeholders, whether it's employees, vendors, customers. Please do train them about these rule sets. Even if you're not able to train them, you can forward this video link to them, and they can go through this program, this entire program, and still get certified by World Education Organization or IAAC Society by the end of this program. And it's a very, very serious topic, right? So make sure that they are trained. So I'm making it simple for you by forwarding this video to all your stakeholders. You're going to train them. And not only they are trained, but they are also certified by whom? The World Education Organization or IAAC Society, right? Okay. And you can also customize it later on. If you want to make it more customized, you can plan to how to customize it for your audience as well. But training is extremely important. So they need to know about the rule sets and how they are going to implement it in your organization and for your stakeholders, right? Let's say why it is important also, because see, it is also going to protect you from lawsuits. There are companies which have been sued to thousands of dollars for not following certain structure and certain rules in their email. But what happens is, if your organization, as a CEO, as a university dean, as a leadership member, if you can set those rules, it is going to save your organization and university. Trust me, it is going to save your organization and university, even if someone violates within that particular university or corporate. So these rule sets, which I'm going to share now, and how you're going to create those rules further in detail, would help you save yourself and your company from lawsuits. Is this fair, Dr. Fazlur Rahman, Girish Singh, Naresh, and others who are watching this? Anyone who is going to also watch this recording later on, please make sure that this is shared across, and you have to define a rule set for your organization, for your corporate, for your university on how you're going to execute them, because that is going to save you from lawsuits, isn't it? Save you from all those tens and thousands of dollars of penalty you might get otherwise. Even if someone breaks the rule, if you have the rule set defined, you are saved. You're saved as an organization, as a university, right? So that's important. And let's get into the rule set now. Please take your notes. Take your notes now. Those 23 rule sets are going to be golden rule sets, which you would have not got it otherwise. And it's simplified. I believe in simplifying things and giving it. So if you're ready for a simplified version of it, global rule set, the 23 rule sets, please make notes now. Okay, the very first golden rule is always, apart from the rule sets which you're going to set up for your organization in terms of protecting you from lawsuits, there are also global best practices, right? The first best practice is always answer swiftly to all your stakeholders. Make it very, very clear. In your rule set, also you define it that your company should answer your clients or vendors or faculty members or students or professionals or whoever it is within one working day. That is on the same day or within 24 hours. You define those as a rule, clear rule. As a leader, it has to be there that the number one rule should be to answer swiftly. That's like you're caring for someone, right? If someone is asking you a question, it makes your responsibility to answer back and make sure that you engage. Exactly, it's like, if you ignore an email or a message, that means you're really ignoring that person, which doesn't go well. In the global context, it's important that you set a rule that someone, if they raises a question or sends an email, you are going to respond in one working day always. That should be your number one rule set. And coming to the rule number 2, always use a meaningful subject line when you're creating an email. Okay, I'm very, very clear. When you're creating an email, always give a meaningful subject. So that why meaningful subject? Why meaningful subject? Just type in the comment why there should be a meaningful subject. I'm waiting for your answer. Why there should be a meaningful subject when you are writing an email. Okay, I get some personalized messages. Okay, let's take it. Meaningful subject is mainly to save time for the other party who is going to read your email. right? And that subject should be crisp, clear as to what the body will contain. Agree? Agree, right? So this is what you need to make it very, very clear, like your university name or what exactly you're trying to convey as a message, right? Whether you're looking for getting your students placed in that particular company, or you're asking for some proposals to someone, make it very clear in your subject, right? Make it extremely clear. If you're making an announcement to students, you can say announcement for this quarter or for this month, and related to this. Make it clear and crisp in the subject. It should convey about the what is expected in the body of that email. It can't be a surprise subject for a professional communication. Of course, I've seen a lot of people who are doing this email marketing and all, they give vague subject lines, which I don't agree with. I don't agree with, or the global best practices doesn't agree with it. So I'm going to talk only about global best practices. And here, when I'm talking about global best practices, it's important to write a meaningful subject line which clearly conveys what is there in the body, how critical it is. And rule number 3, if you've got rule number 1, rule number 2, type in the comments what did you get in rule number 1 and rule number 2. Rule number 1 is what? I'm going to recap. Answer swiftly, create a rule. Yep, fantastic. So hi, good evening. Someone from Bada Business team has logged in. Okay, great. Good evening. So what I'm suggesting is, rule number 1 is all about answering swiftly, right? And set a clear timeline for yourself. If you're not a company, if you're an individual, set a clear timeline for yourself, a discipline, a professional discipline where you're going to answer within the same day. Rule number 2 is having a clear subject line, clear subject line, which conveys what is there in the body of the email. Agree? And rule number 3, please make a note of it, that don't abuse the reply to all. Don't abuse the reply to all. You need to make sure that why you are not going to reply to all in all contexts. Now, here I want some engagement for you from you guys. Please type in the comments where all you can reply to all and where all you cannot or you're not supposed to reply to all. Give me one scenario. Give me one scenario. I want you to think. You all are wise men and women. Please think about it. Why you should not reply to all in one scenario, and why you should reply to all in another scenario. I need both the scenarios here, right? Give me your scenarios. I'm waiting for your scenarios. There are so many people already on the call. So Brahma Naidu, please reply why you need to reply to all in some of the emails. And in another context or another scenario, you can say why you should not reply to all in another scenario. Brahma Naidu, Dr. Fazlur Rahman, Naresh Verma, Girish Singh, you can talk about on the chat, on the comments, you can type in why you should be using reply to all in one scenario. I'm waiting for it. And someone else can tell in a different scenario why you should not. Yeah, for known people, we can reply. Okay, that's fine. Reply all. I'm asking about reply all. For example, if there are, say, I'll give you one scenario. There are hundreds of people in the email chain. Should you reply to all? Unknown people, we don't reply. Okay, fine. See, from the professional standpoint of view, known or unknown people, you will have in the email loop. So should you reply all the 100 people, or should you just reply to only people whom the email matters? Yeah, in your opinion. Okay, good opinion. Thank you so much, Naresh Verma. I like your participation. Can't understand. Okay. Now I'm saying what I'm saying, Brahma, is there are two approaches to reply all. Okay, rule number 3 is not to abuse reply all, right? Suppose there are hundreds of people in the email, CC and 2 and BCC. Generally CC and 2 will get reply all, right? When you do reply all, it will go to all the 100 people. Is it good or bad? Yeah, is it good or bad? I want to know whether it's good or bad. I know you can't speak, but you can know. Yeah, very good. So it is not good when you have to reply all like 100 of people. Just try and analyze. See, you are a smart professional, right? You need to know for whom that reply all will be making sense. Only to those people whom that email makes sense to be replied all. Only then you have to reply all. Otherwise, just reply to those people. When you reply, make sure that only those people are selected in the two to whom that email is supposed to make sense, who needs to take action. And CC only those people who needs to be informed. There is something like I am supposed to take an action, so I need to be in two. But if my another colleague is supposed to be, or my manager or someone needs to know about this email reply, they needs to be CC'd. And rest who don't have to be part of this email loop needs to be out of the email loop. Agree? How many of you agree that you should be very smart and very clear as to what you are going to reply all? This is the rule number 3, global best practices, right? So I want to know, do you agree? Agree? If agree, just type it in the comments. Agree, each one of you, that you need to be selective in replying all. I'm waiting for your answer. I'm waiting for your answer before I move forward, that you need to be selective in terms of replying all. And whoever is making these notes of 23 rule sets and start typing them here will be getting a special bonus gift by the end of this session from me, from Dr. Azmatullah Khan. You are going to get a special bonus gift by the end of this session. And every participant who is watching this entire video till the last will get a form to fill up to get a certificate from whom? From World Education Organization. That's the channel you're watching. Agree? Fantastic. Good. I'm getting some feedbacks now. Okay, rule 1, 2, 3. Who can sum up the rule number 1, 2, 3 right now? Who can sum up the rule number 1, 2, 3? Type in the comments rule number 1, rule number 2, rule number 3. In a very short way, you can just type in the comments rule number 1, rule number 2, rule number 3. Let me even repeat it for you. Rule number 1 is what? To answer swiftly, have a clear timeline for answering every email. You have to set a rule for yourself, whether your company sets it or not. For your individual growth, you need to set a rule, a professional rule for yourself, that you're going to reply within 1 working day, come what may. That's a rule number 1. Rule number 2, what? Rule number 2 is use a meaningful subject line, right? You can't have a subject line which is vague. I see a lot of people who writes an email, they don't have a connecting between the subject line and the body. The subject line should clearly give a message about what is going to be there in the body, right? And rule number 3 is what? Use reply all. Don't abuse reply all. Use it very, very smartly, very, very carefully, right? So type in the comments what do you understand by rule number 1, 2, and 3. And like this, we are going to cover rule 23 by the end of this session. And those are all critical rules for you to grow successfully. In 2021, you have to grow. You can't be like how you have been in the 2020. Agree? You can't wait and watch the world to work without you making certain disciplined action for yourself, right? So let's go for rule number 4 now. How to use the BCC? How to use the BCC field when sending to many people? Does everyone know it? I'm sure you know it, but use it. When you have to send, like say, to mass people, you can use BCC, but I would go one step above. Rule number 4, global best practices, to use BCC when you're sending to many people, right? But I would go one step above. What is this? I am going to focus on mail merge. If you don't know about mail merge, type in the comments. I will probably plan a session sometime on mail merge. But it's important for you to understand that when you are sending emails to multiple people, right? Say an invitation for this webinar, or say an invitation for your marriage, or an invitation for your child's birthday ceremony or something like that. Any invitation or any message, when you want to send it to mass people, make it personalized using mail merge. right? Otherwise, okay, if you don't know mail merge till the time, you can use BCC. Now, what is BCC? Type in this comments, what do you understand by BCC? What is BCC? BCC is nothing but blocked carbon copy, right? That means people are not able to see to whom all the email has gone. If you keep everyone in BCC, they will not know to whom all the messages have gone. Okay, so rule number 4 is what? Use BCC field when sending to many people. Okay, now who can summarize me rule number 1, 2, 3, 4 quickly? Who can summarize rule number 1, 2, 3, 4? If you're making notes, you're going to summarize this, right? Yep, that's correct. You're right. You're right, Mr. Brahmanaidu, that it has to be with the name. See, how do you feel when I call your name on the live streaming, which is going to the world? How do you find it? And when all the people who are going to watch this recording will know that your name has been called because you are part of our live stream of the World Education Organization, and you're going through this certification program today. If you're watching this entire, wow, fantastic, Diana, Damodaran, fantastic. Answer quickly. Meaningful subject. Don't abuse. Reply to all. 4th, can you type in also rule number 4? Come on. Come on, Diana. You are actually edging towards getting my gift at the end of the session. So you have already got the 3 rules very, very clear. Go to the rule number 4. What is rule number 4? Use the BCC field when sending to many people. Yes, make a notes of it right there in the comments. You can start making your notes right there in the comments, and each one who is making notes in the comments with the rules is going to definitely get yeah, use BCC is going to definitely get my gift at the end of this session, right? Okay, let's move on to rule number 5. Okay, what is the rule number 5? Don't leave out the message thread, include the original email. Don't leave out the message thread. What does this mean? Yeah. What does this mean? Don't leave out, the rule number 5 is don't leave out the message thread, include the original email in your reply. It's extremely critical that you don't leave the message thread halfway through, and make sure that everything, when you're replying all the previous conversations needs to be there, and your subject needs to be the same. The original subject with RE dot, that subject should be there, and all the email threads needs to be there. Why? Because most people don't have an habit of tracking and keeping those emails in a systematic way, right? So to make it easy for them, you need to have complete email conversations. And it's extremely critical. I would say it's extremely critical that you are going to not leave out any of the message threads when you're replying replying to that person. Okay, there is a difference. Replying to that person, make sure that the entire message thread is there clearly. If you're replying to Ramesh or Suresh or Daya, Dharmavaram or anyone, Naresh, then Brahma Naidu or whoever it is, make sure that you are going to keep the entire conversation when you are replying to them. Okay, try to avoid reply all, but if it's 2, 3 people or 1, 2 people, very clearly you know who is going to get the benefit of that email reply. Only those should know it. Okay, others may not know it. Okay, it's important that rule number 5 is also noted down. Who can type in the rule number 4 and 5 here right now? Using BCC, you got it. 5, rule number 5. What is rule number 5? What's your understanding of rule number 5? Don't leave out the message thread, but include the original email when you're replying to that person, right? So rule number 5 is what? Don't leave out the original message thread when you're replying to that person. Keep the same subject line. Okay, so let's move on. Rule number 6. Whoever is going to get the rules clearly till the end are going to get a special bonus gift from Dr. Azmatullah Khan. Yes, you're going to get it from me, a special gift, because you're part of this World Education Organization certified program today on global best practices in digital communication. Part 1 is on the global best practices in email etiquette. is what you're going to get now. Okay, so you can expect that a lot of sessions are going to come around these topics, which are going to be useful for you to implement in your professional work life. Okay, rule number 6, read your email before you send it. Now this is critical. How critical it is? Because when you're going to send an email to someone, it can make or break your relationship with them. A professional email, when it is sent or received, and if it is not in a proper way, you could make or break a relationship. And today in the virtual world, our relationships, professional relationships, right, through email communication gets established much better if you properly read it thoroughly as to what you're sending as an email, line by line, word by word, even to the extent of spelling mistakes and everything. Please read it. Why it is important? Why it is important? I want to know from you. Yes, from you. The one who you're watching, please type in the comments why it is important. Why? I know it is important. Why? Don't leave out the message thread, including the original person. True, agree. Now, rule number 6 is to read your email thoroughly before you send it. Why it is important that you need to read your email thoroughly before you send it? Yeah. Yeah, you learn. See, you can join the Telegram group for the certificate that will be there by the end of the session. That message is there right from IAAC Society, which is the World Education Organization. Yes, you're right, Lokesh. It's whether the information is correct or wrong. It can break the professional relationship. You're right, Mr. Lokesh. Information can be correct or wrong if you don't review it. Or even to extent, I will say, if you have a reviewer in your team, just to see if you're sending out a very, 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 very important email to someone, make it reviewed by another person also. Because it can break or make a contract. It can break or make a offer. It can break or make anything in this world. Professional relationship can be established very well as well if you write an awesome, a structured, a well-defined, prompt email. Thank you so much, Lokesh, Naresh, and others who are contributing. It makes sense because when you start typing and engaging in the session, you will get the maximum value. And you can start asking questions as well. When you start engaging, you get the maximum output, right? So rule number 7, this is extremely critical, I would say. Extremely, extremely critical. What if I'm sending a contract to someone, right? What if I'm sending a contract or a proposal which is very confidential? What if I'm sending a contract or an offer letter or something? Should it not be mentioned as confidential? Should it not have that confidential tick? Should it not have that confidential in the subject line as well? Confidential hyphen offer letter, or say, if it is to be confidential, or a contract, make it extremely visible about that document being confidential. Make it extremely visible. Also, there is a disclaimer which you can put in the bottom of the email. How many of you do this? You can type in the comments if you have already done this or followed it because of your organization rules. Now, this is where the rules come into picture. Your organizational rules, which is going to save your organization or a university, is only because when you have clear disclaimer in the bottom of the email. You need to definitely have this. Please, if you are stuck in not creating a disclaimer, reach out to my team, care@stage.com, stage with AZ in it, STAZGE.com, right? AZ is my name. So care@stage.com, my team will help you in terms of guiding you clearly that your disclaimer message is correct or not. Okay. And that's part of your company's rule set or an organization rule set or a university rule set. Even if you're individual, I consider individual as a brand. Every individual is a brand. Every individual is an organization. If we don't organize ourselves, we can't expect our world to be organized. We need to organize ourselves. You can control something which is within you, right? You can't expect that you will control corona, or you will control some external factor, or some now N501 is coming tomorrow, K302 would come and something else would come in. So can you control that? Can you control that? No, right? So what you can control is yourself, your professionalism, your readiness, your readiness in terms of what exactly you can do in terms of getting the disclaimer right, your way of implementing these rules. Not just take these rules, but implement it today, right today. Okay, so many of you are making notes, which is fantastic. And I would say the rule number 7, which I've talked now, is about writing confidential information visibility, right? Clearly about confidential information, you need to make it clear in the email and give a disclaimer. The rule number 7 says, have confidential email clearly distinguished and have disclaimers in every email. Why every email is because you don't know which can be very critical email, which your team members are interacting with external party, which could be an asset leak out to that particular vendor or a prospect, right? So it's extremely important for an organization, or for you individual as an organization. Everyone is an organization for me. Everyone is a brand. Have a disclaimer for yourself. Every email, keep a disclaimer as a default, that this email would include confidential details which needs to be protected. And this can save you as an individual brand, save you as an individual company, save you as an individual professional, save you as an individual university, even save you as an individual student. It is going to build the future India. It is going to build the future, whichever country you are from. It is going to build the future, because you as youth is important to get this structured right now, even before you get into job. Or if you are into job, apply it. Or if you're setting a company, apply it. You know, I keep always telling this, that I am on a mission to save $2 trillion losses for India, as quoted by World Employer Forum, that in the next 10 years, India is staring at $2 trillion loss due to skill deficit. And I keep talking about it everywhere. And this is my mission. And this is also critical part of structuring the email etiquette, or global digital best practices in communication is important in today's world, post-corona era, that you implement it. Okay. So who can type in the rule number 7 on the chat box now? Come on, type in the rule number 7 in the chat box before we move to the rule number 8. I'm going to see on the chat box who is actively participating, and type in the comments rule number 7. Rule number 7 is what? Distinguish the confidential information clearly in your email with a tick, with the confidential message and the disclaimer. And disclaimer should be there in every email by the rule set. Okay. Rule number 8. Now this is for today's youth. I would say even 70-year-old is a youth today who's adopting these bad practices, I would say, is using abbreviations, SMS language, or WhatsApp language. Now what is this? You would have heard about LOL. LOL is what? Laugh out loud. BTW, which is by the way. Now, why are you guys using all these shortcut languages, or SMS languages, or WhatsApp languages in your communication, especially professional communication? Come on, give me a break. How can we use BTW, which is by the way, or laugh out loud, LOL, in a professional communication like an email? I would say even in personal communication, no, you should not be using it. Actually, as a professional, as a brand, you as a brand and as a company yourself, you cannot use abbreviations and emotions in an email. Of course, you could use it in social media or WhatsApp or SMS, but not in a professional email. Please, not in a professional email, right? So it's important to reduce or remove completely abbreviations. That is the rule number 8. You've typed in the rule number 7. Now please type in the rule number 8. What is that rule number 8? Avoid abbreviations. Avoid SMS language. Avoid WhatsApp language. And avoid all the emotions in your emails. I've been telling, don't use different fonts, different coloring, different even text matters the most, right? You might say FYI. I don't. It's not making any sense. Make it clearly. What will happen if you type in for your information, right? Make it very clear. Make it very clear. BTW. By the way, LOL doesn't make any sense. So what is rule number 8? Type it in the comments. What is rule number 8? Remove abbreviations and emotions in your email. Make it professional. It's your brand. So rule number 9. If you have typed in rule number 8 in the comments, I'm going to go to rule number 9. Abbreviations. Location. It's avoid abbreviations. So it would help you if you can just say avoid abbreviations and emotions, right? You would see that emojis, those emojis should not be used in the email professional. No, avoid shortcut abbreviations. Yeah, abbreviations like LOL, BTW, by the way, FYI, not required. Absolutely not required. Please take some time to make it full, clear, and professional. Rule number 9. This is a golden rule. Why? Because you would flood a lot of emails and attachments and everything. That's why I would say rule number 9 says avoid unnecessary attachments. Avoid unnecessary attachments. Why? Because see, a lot of times this is going to jam the server. This is going to consume the bandwidth. Even internet speed might not be great. It will consume the bandwidth. It will consume the space. Avoid unnecessary attachments in an email, in a professional email. Avoid unnecessary attachments there, right? That's rule number 9. So avoid unnecessary attachments. Let's move on to rule number 9. You can type in the comments that avoid unnecessary attachments. And rule number 10 is what? A lot of people send so many junk emails. They forward the junk emails, right? Yeah, they would say, okay, send this email to 5 people and you'll be blessed. Come on. If people would have been blessed like that, then even COVID have not come to this planet, right? So it's important that we are practical, we are professional, right? And we are persistent in terms of adopting these best practices. Rule number 10 is to avoid unnecessary junk to be forwarded. Don't forward junk. Make it simple. Don't forward junk. Rule number 10 is what? Don't forward junk. Like the email, a lot of email which comes, forward this to 5 people, 10 people, and sometimes even some unnecessary attachments, sometimes viruses. Come on, how can we really spoil the mailbox or spoil someone's mailbox or someone's email list and things like that by just sending something junk? You can't send junk, you can't send viruses, you can't send anything which is unnecessary, right? Avoid forwarding junk. There could be some rumors, right? So, and we are used to rumors generally from the social media. Thanks to social media, we are so much used to rumors and things like that. Even our media which is there, which will spread a lot of news which is unnecessary, right? Don't forward any junk. That's rule number 10. Rule number 11 is to be precise and concise in what you are writing. You don't have to write a long text and make it paragraph after paragraph after paragraph in your email. No need. You need to be very smart in conveying a message in crisp way, in clear sentences, distinguish between paragraphs, and make it clear that it doesn't become a loop. Once you send an email, it's going to be powerful and enough. Simple, powerful, and enough, right? You need to be concise in your email. Now you can adopt this everywhere. Be concise. Whenever you're also writing a blog, be concise as to what you want to convey. Don't make it dragging or looping until unless it's points, clear points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 clear points tells what exactly it is. You don't have to add unnecessary stuff which is not required. So avoid unnecessary paragraphs, unnecessary text, and make it concise. Be concise. Rule number 11 is to be precise and concise as to what you are conveying to your audience, what you are conveying to the other person who is listening to you, who is communicating with you, right? If I'm sending to say Dayana Damodaran, or say Dharmavaran, or Naresh, or others who are Dayana, or others who are actually communicating here, if I'm sending something unnecessary stuff, too much of text and messages, it doesn't make sense. Make it very clear, concise. This is what you have to send, right? True. Only focus on content. True. And rule number 12. Now you got rule number 11, you got it. Okay. Are you with me or am I fast? Please type in the comments that if you are finding the space good enough, you're able to understand clearly, concisely as to what I'm communicating. I'll be moving on to rule number 12. This is a golden rule. This is going to save time and effort of each other. Now, this rule is about answer all the questions which has been asked, and also answer those questions which you anticipate when you send an email will be asked. So here you can think out of the box. Clearly you think out of the box. What are the kind of questions which are asked? Answer them all. Okay. And also anticipate what could be, if your answer also can open up more questions, try to make it clear in that answer so that it doesn't become a loop. Loop of an email is not a great option. Loop of an email is not a great option. Alternatively, I would suggest when you are actually communicating an email and answering the questions, you could also ask over a call that are these the only questions, right? And probably as discussed, these are the answers could be written in an email, right? So the rule is very, very simple, and it's a golden rule. Rule number 12, 1, 2. Rule number 1, 2, which is 12 rule, is answer all the questions clearly, even anticipating what could be the other questions which are asked, right? Don't keep anything open. Make it very, very clear. Rule number 13. Now I talked about mail merge, right? What did I do in mail merge? I used personal invitation. So make it personal. Rule number 13 is always make your email personal. It can't be saying hi or hello, comma. You can't just say this is what it is. Make it personal. Hello, Brahma Naidu. How are you doing? And this is what it is. Hello, Dharmavaram. How does it sound when I'm bringing out your name on the global forum? How does it sound that when your name is announced on the World Education Organization forum? Right? I'm saying, hello, Diana, thank you for writing so much of content, and this is what you get as a gift because you answered all my rules, right? So it's important that you will feel personal, you will feel important, right? The other person is important as you, right? You would like to be called personally. Same thing, the other person is also human being with a heart, and he or she also would like to be called with their names. So as much as possible, please personalize yourself when you're writing an email. Take their name. It's a basic thing, but it's important. I would say it makes a lot of sense, a lot of connectivity, and that relationship is what will take you long way. So make your emails personal. Rule number 13, right? Rule number 14. Rule number 14. Use a proper structure and layout for reading. Make it paragraphs, clear sentences, grammatical full stops, or whatever it is. Make sure that it's very, very clear. Create a proper structure and layout for easy reading. The kind of the formatting you use is important here. So use the proper structure and layout for readings. This is your rule number 14. So what is rule number 14? Creating a proper structure and layout for reading. Get paragraphs, make it very, very clear. So like if you remember those school or college days, right? We used to write a letter, handwritten letter, okay, which has clearly from section to section. Yes, Lokesh, you're right. Have a clear subject, then address it to dear so and so, then the body of the thing, and then finally you give a signature, right? You are sincerely and all. How does it look when people read it? It's structured. Use a proper structure and layout. Rule number 14. Rule number 15, don't overuse high priority function. There is a high priority function. Do you know that in every email you will find this, that there's a high priority function in there, and people misuse it and they set high priority as default. Why should it be high priority always, right? Global best practices like this. When something is very, very high priority, it has an impact on more than 500 plus people, or it has an impact on the revenue which is equivalent to what a 500 people cost would be there. So until then, it is not a high priority. The world is not falling over, right? My invitation to this webinar can't be a high priority because it can be watched even recording and complete the session, right? So what is more high priority, which can impact positively more than 500 plus people urgently? High priority, which can have an impact on the cost and losses if not acted upon on multiple people. That's a high priority. COVID vaccination requirement could be a high priority. So distinguish what can be your high priority, and can't be that every email will be a high priority. It cannot be, isn't it? How can every email be a high priority? It can't be. It has to be low, medium, high, very high, critical, right? So sometimes people use high and critical on the same platform. It's okay, but you can't keep a low and medium priority with high priority. So that's rule number 15. And rule number 16 is, what is rule number 15? Type in the comments. Rule number 15, all of you guys, Lokesh, Brahmanaidu, Dharmavaram, and others, everyone please comment below in terms of writing clearly what is rule number 15. Okay, rule number 15 is to avoid high priority for every email, right? Use high priority selectively. Rule number 16, do not write in capitals. Why should you not write in capitals? What does capitals indicate? Who can say this? What does capitals indicate? Luckily, no one has written in capitals so far in the comments. So if you write it in capitals, what does it sound to you? What does it sound to you? If you write it in capitals, what does it sound to you? I want to know. Top level. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else? Come on. Give the feedback. See, don't worry about whether it's correct or not. Don't worry about it. Participating is extremely important. That's something. Capital means you're shouting at others. You're shouting on the other person, right? You're actually saying this. You're really shouting at the person with writing the capitals. Hello, HELLO. How are you doing? Are you really shouting or greeting them? So that is the difference between capitals and not writing in capitals. So do not write in capitals. Never write in capitals. And rule number 17 is be careful with formatting. Why? There are different formats in which the fonts are used, and the most advised format or font would be what? Around say 11 to 12 font size and Times Roman or Arial. Agree? How many of you agree that formatting makes a clear sense? If you type some XYZ language or the different font which you use, which is quite difficult to read for someone, it is going to be very, very difficult, right? Actually, greetings, Manikumar. Thank you for joining. But I would say that if you have watched this entire video, it will be definitely useful for you. You are also going to get a certificate by the end of the session, right? So after the session, again, you can go through entire session. So what is important is you should be extremely careful with the formatting so that the other person who reads the email or reads your communication makes it very, very easy and easy on their eyes, right? So format recommended is Times Roman or Arial with 11 to 12 size font. Times Roman or Arial, you can find it in the drop down and make sure that that is set as default and make it. I've talked about structure, format, everything, and that makes a clear sense of a powerful email, a professional email, right? Professional communication, which can break or make a communication, which can break or make a relationship for business communications, which can break or make a relationship for long-term corporate life. Okay, so let's move on to rule number 18. Never ever request for delivery or read receipts. Never ever. Never. Why? Because if you request for delivery or read receipts, what does it indicate? What does it indicate? Anyone can answer this. If I request a delivery or read receipt for an email, what does it indicate? What does it indicate? Anyone can answer this. Delivery or read receipts are not supposed to be used heavily. Only once in a rare case, use a delivery or read receipt if you're not clear that this is going to go to that particular inbox or not. Even otherwise, you will get to know because there would be a bounce back of that email, right? When you have a bounce back of that email, you know that the delivery has not reached. So do not request delivery and read receipt from your prospect or a stakeholder. So rule number 18 is what? Do not request delivery and read receipt. It also means that you don't trust whether the person is reading it or not, right? So it can be sometimes annoying, especially if someone is a CEO of a company and you have asked him delivery read receipt for everything, right? It doesn't make logical sense. So do not request for delivery and read receipts very often. Rule number 18. Type in the comments notification for me. All right. Notification for me. Okay. Okay, Manikumar, you are asking for notification for yourself, but you could also know that once you don't receive a bounce back of that email, you're clear that it's reached that location, right? Right. True. Rule number 819. Do not recall a message. So how can you avoid recalling a message is by preparing your email in a way that it is acceptable. Do not recall a message, which means it shows that you're not certain of what exactly you want to convey. Always avoid recall button. There's a recall button in email. Do not use that, okay? Or do not recall whenever you have sent an email. When you go to send, you say recall your message. That option is there. Avoid that option. Make sure that you read through correctly entire email, entire structure, entire communication, and see how does it feel for you. When someone else sends you that email, how does it feel for you? When you feel the customer's shoes, you will not make a mistake in which you have to recall your message, right? So I would say avoid recall of your message. If you make a discipline that you're not going to recall whatever you have sent. Even if you have sent, you could reply saying that apologize, this is what I have conveyed and this is my updated communication. It's okay. There's no harm. See, we are human beings. Everyone makes a mistake. Everyone makes a mistake, and I always believe that people have to make mistakes. That's where they learn, right? So, but making mistake doesn't mean that you have to report and make it a better approach next time. All the people who have achieved success have always made mistakes, learned from those, and made different mistakes, not the same mistake. That's okay. If you have made one mistake, learn from it and make it better so that the same mistake is not repeated. But next time when you are making a different mistake, not the same mistake, you learn from it and improve upon. But no need to recall it. Rather, you can correct to the same email by replying to the email saying that apologize, I made a bit of mistake and this is what my updated request is all about. And that sounds more truthful, honest approach from your side. You need to be known as an honest human being first, right? Accept what is there. Everyone, the best of the best, makes mistakes. I agree, I make mistakes in communication sometimes, but rectifying it and on top of it, replying it and conveying it clearly that this is what my updated message is for you makes logical sense. Agree? Yeah, I'm asking you, do you agree? If you agree, type in the comments, agree. And this is the rule number 19, which is do not recall a message. This is an extensive session. Another 4 more rules are there, which is going to give you a certificate from World Education Organization. So stay tuned throughout this session and keep answering your comments. Start answering in your comments. What do you understand? What is rule number 18 and 19? What is rule number 18 and 19? I've talked about 19 just now, so do not recall your message. What is rule number 18 and 19 now? Who's going to type in the comments 18 and 19? You are going to get a special gift from me by the end of this session. Okay, so rule number 18 and 19. Who's going to type in the comments rule number 18 and 19? I'm waiting for your comments. So right, 18 and 19, I think I'm going to repeat it for you. 18 is do not request read receipts and delivery requests. And rule number 19 is do not recall a message. Do not write capital is before that. Don't write capital is rule number 16. So rule number 17 is be careful with the formatting. Rule number 18 is do not request delivery and read receipts. And rule number 19 is do not recall a message. Right? Okay, let's move on to rule number 20. Rule number 20 is do not copy a message or attachment without permission. See, most of the times your disclaimer will protect you, but sometimes what happens is people behave unprofessionally, right? What they do is they get a diagram or whatever it is which need not be shared with others, and that would be used without permission. There would be some confidential information which you get as part of the message, and you should not copy those messages or attachment without permission. Sometimes you might get that from various options, so make sure that you take a permission, okay, to convey that or copy a message and attachment and send it. Okay, so rule number 20 is this: do not copy a message or attachment without permission. Rule number 21 is to avoid long sentences, right? People do this. They type in long sentences in their email and send it as if keeping a point, but give message which is important, critical, answering all their questions. But don't have to write a long message as such. You can make it crisp, clear, and communicative. Sometimes you can even speak to them, and this is what we have summarized, and this is the summary of it. That's okay, right? But avoid long sentences. You can get in touch with me to understand how you can avoid some long sentences when you are writing very critical emails and to an important stakeholder. You can write to care@stage.com, stage with AZ in it, and you'll get a free guidance on this. stazge.com. Okay. So when you avoid long sentences, you are going to make sure that you're going to save time for yourself and for others around you. Rule number 22, always don't distinguish whether it's a male or female when you're writing an email. Keep your language gender neutral. Don't convey that he, she, just type in with the name. Okay, I had a conversation with Aditya or Srimati or whoever it is, and you don't have to mention he or she or whatever it is very often, right? Make it gender neutral. Everyone is a professional, so always communicate them professionally. You don't have to be feeling different, and you don't have to write something which is not gender neutral, right? So it's important that you make it very clear when you're gender differences should not be there ever, right? Why in this today's modern world, why should we even think about gender differences? And frankly speaking, each one is as powerful as another, right? I consider every single person as a brand. I consider every single person as a company in itself, right? So rule number 23, do not reply to a spam message. You get a lot of spam message, put it in the spam folder, delete it, trash it. Do not reply to a spam message. If you're working in a corporate world, communicate to your IT team or the security team that this message is spam. You could communicate to them. You don't have to reply to that message. Okay. If you are individual, make sure that you're protecting yourself, because email phishing, email viruses are sent very often, professionally and personally. Please save yourself from all the junk emails, all the junk viruses, all the junk communications, all the spam messages, and make sure that if the subject is not clear, you are going to communicate and train the person, or refer them to this video where they can go through a complete structured 23 rule set from World Education Organization given by Dr. Azmatullah Khan for the audience to use it freely and get certified. But end of the session, like now it's close to 1 hour 16 minutes, and I'm going to open it for question and answers. To you can feel free to ask all your questions now on the comment box. On the comment box, you can ask all the questions possible so that I can answer your questions. And there is a link given, or we will be giving it in the description, where you could go and enroll in the Telegram group and get certified. You can enroll in the Telegram group. Make sure that you have subscribed to this channel. Hit the bell icon to get most important communications to you on your professional growth. World Education Organization is a not-for-profit organization. It's driven by IAAC Society, which is this, and this is purely to help professionals, students, deans, universities, corporates, and even entrepreneurs to get educated in English language through this forum. And I'm very happy and glad that I've been invited for the second time. And this time I have given you step by step 23 rule sets, which will be useful for you if you properly make notes. Even if you have not made notes, don't worry now. You can go through the entire video again, right? Make notes again and make sure that you share it with everyone. Why do you want to keep the knowledge to yourself? Share it with the community. And remember, my mission is to save the $2 trillion losses for India, which is estimated by India Employer Forum, and I'm very serious about it. And today's youth, who is going to upgrade themselves, learn and implement and grow, are the ones who are going to thrive and make sure that our economy also improves with that. Right? It's on your shoulders, on your young shoulders, that you carry a responsibility to share this video. Share this initiative of World Education Organization. Let them all get certified, even if it's an experienced veteran Coach, please share it with them. They miss out on some of the fundamentals. And I made it simplified. I didn't give any presentation deck because I wanted to make it interactive. Okay. You need to interact and you should feel that Dr. Azmat is sitting right in front of you and talking to you. Right? So please do that. And most importantly, by the end of it, I'm going to wish you a great year 2021 where you can have clearly the list approach, which I always tell. Learn, implement, scale up, scale up, and track. Learn whatever I'm telling you. Get the guidance. If you need more guidance, reach out to my number 966 33 21145, or you can write an email to my team. My team will forward it to me. care@stazge.com. I'll give you free guidance. Okay, where you will know how to structure yourself, how to learn from various programs and implement, or a lot of content is there on the internet, right? I will guide you what to select, how to select, where to select. Implement them, not just learn, implement them. Like all the practices which I have told you here, implement them. Scale up. When you implement them, validate how you're doing. Scale up. That is how you can scale up. You can't just be on the runway, right? You have to take off. That is scaling up. You need to make sure that you get into the right acceleration and take off. And once you take off, track and monitor the progress so that you can land safely. And when you land safely, again, you need to see what better you can do to make sure that you have a better ride, right? So list, implement, scale up, track. That will give you continuous improvement. List, it's called list. Learn, implement, scale up, track, and continuously do this. This is your continuous process for year 2021. And this is a golden mantra which I'm giving it to you. And people who have answered the questions, they can get in touch with me. I will give you some free courses also for you, which you can access it through care@stage.com, stage with AZ in it, or you can call me on 966 33 21145 sometime tomorrow morning. See you. If you don't have any questions, see you till the next time. Enjoy your certificate. You'll get a link in the description for getting your certificate from World Education Organization. I would like to thank Professor Sai Chanduji and everyone out there from World Education Organization, which is IAAC Society, for having invited me yet again. And I'm looking forward to contribute more because I'm on a mission. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Azmullah Khan. It's our great pleasure to have you for the second time. Every time you come here, you are just mentoring of people. It's not even a course. It's not even a section. You're just mentoring us. And like you, even IAC Society has a mission that to get world education and uniformity. And we are working. And thanks for your great support from the corporate end for the world goodness. And even for India, we are leaving a general with free cost, and we want make the quality education systems. And as you told about the emails, even there are many points which even the corporate people were absent of. So even it sometimes even even this with these messages they're losing their businesses and goodwills. And it is a very good section and it will be saved here forever. And for participants, once again I am telling you, the link of the telegram group is presented in the description bar. You can click it and it will directly take you to the telegram group. In the telegram group again you will get a one more link that is called feedback link. If you fill it, then only you will get a certificate. And even this video and with this beautiful section in between, Azmullah Khan said that please share the knowledge to all, so that actually we going to keep this link activated for 30 minutes only. But for this special section I'm keeping this link for 24 hours online. And I request to share this video along with this certificate link. Whoever filled within these 24 hours, we are going to give them international certified certification from IAAC. And thank you, sir. And we hope in the future we have many programs and have a great future. And advance Happy New Year to one and all. And have a great day with these 23 rules of mail writing and digital communication. And if you like to have more sections with us, please join us and travel with us. Just work for the benefit of the world, being humanity, being human. Thank you. Thank
Sure,
you,
sure.
sir.
My
Thank
next
you.
session is also coming soon, Professor. For you, this will be
Sure,
part two,
Professor.
and we'll be talking on various things.
Definitely, definitely. We are very pleased to host that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. See you. Bye
Thank
for
you.
now.